If you're tracking Xi Jinping's AI announcement at WAIC 2026, here is his ultimate play, the World AI Cooperation Organization. The US recently restricted its most powerful AI, leaving a massive power vacuum in the developing world. Imagine a tech company in the global south deciding which superpower's AI to build its infrastructure on. Option A is the American path. Washington legally blocks advanced tech from leaving the country, a strict system called export controls. Option B is China's new organization. They offer access to top-tier models, where you can download and modify the core code yourself, with no political conditions. Usually there's a catch. Unrestricted access typically means inferior quality, making the gated American path seem like the only real choice. But the math just flipped. Stanford researchers found the quality gap between top US and Chinese AI has narrowed to just 2.7%. And with Chinese models priced nearly 6 times cheaper than leading Western options, that global South company's decision is already made. They choose the cheaper Chinese AI, and by doing so, China's new organization gets to write their rules for the next decade.
So if you've been scrambling around the internet today searching for Xi Jinping AI, or you're just trying to figure out what on earth is happening at WIC 2026, you are absolutely in the right place. Welcome to this Urgent Explainer. Today is July 17th, 2026, and we are witnessing a massive, breaking shift in the global AI landscape. I mean, this is the kind of shift that fundamentally rewrites the rulebook for developers, for enterprises, and honestly, for governments all over the world. To really wrap our heads around the scale of this pivot, picture this cold open scenario unfolding right now. Imagine a veteran journalist walking into the sprawling conference halls over in Shanghai. Now, she has covered the World AI Conference every single year since it started back in 2018. But today she is seeing something totally unprecedented. Walking right up to the podium to deliver the opening keynote is none other than China's President Xi Jinping. This is his first ever in-person appearance at the event, and it is sending absolute shockwaves across the globe. And it's a wild contrast, right? Because while the audience in Shanghai is watching this historic keynote, you've got engineers in San Francisco glued to their live streams, realizing the tectonic plates of their entire industry just shifted. Over the last month, the United States government has been actively banning its own frontier AI models to protect national security. But meanwhile, China just stepped up to the podium to propose replacing that entire US-led AI governance system with a brand new Chinese-led alternative. All right, let's dive into Section 1, the historic appearance. Now, you might be wondering, why does it actually matter that the president of China showed up in person? Well, back in 2018, he just sent a letter. In 2024 and 2025, Premier Li Qiang attended. But Xi Jinping doesn't just attend tech conferences to fill a time slot. His physical presence today is a massive, unmistakable signal to China's state banks, its provincial governments, and really the whole international community. It means AI dominance is officially being driven from the absolute highest level of the Chinese government, and the sheer momentum behind that is staggering. We are talking about over 100,000 square meters of exhibition space, which was the first time it has ever crossed that threshold. There are over 1,100 exhibitors, 1,400 guests, and the number that really jumps out, over 300 major global product debuts happening today. And what exactly are they debuting? We're seeing the global unveiling of the Huawei Atlas 950 computing cluster, the world's first true AI agent smartphone, and some highly capable new agents from companies like StepFun and Minimax. But here is the crazy part. Every single one of these innovations was built completely without access to NVIDIA's most advanced chips. They navigated right around the US export controls. How on earth did they pull that off? Well, you have to look at the domestic foundation they've been quietly building, 1 trillion yuan. To put that into perspective, that equates to roughly 147 billion US dollars. That was the staggering valuation of China's AI-related industry in 2025 alone, and it's projected to grow by over 30% this year. AI penetration in key Chinese industries has now surpassed 80%. They have essentially built this colossal domestic engine, and today they are fully leveraging it to make a play for global leadership. Which brings us to Section 2, the governance play. See, this keynote wasn't just a tech showcase. It was China's formal highest-level bid to actually lead global AI governance, directly challenging the framework established by the United States. The cornerstone of this bid is WACO, the World AI Cooperation Organization. China is pitching this as a brand new international AI governance body headquartered right there in Shanghai. It's a direct, formalized counteroffer to the rest of the world. So let's break down the two very different rulebooks here. On one side, you have the US approach, which is heavily built around securing AI through export controls, restricted entity lists, limiting access, and even banning frontier models before they hit public release. It's very much a walled garden. On the other side, China is pitching a totally alternative system, one based on open model weights, significantly cheaper access, deep global south partnerships, and a membership-based governance model framed around AI for good and for all. Chinese Foreign Ministry's spokesperson Lin Jian actually summed it up perfectly when he said China looks forward to building a platform for various parties to enhance mutual trust, pool consensus, and deepen cooperation. For non-aligned and developing nations, that is a very straightforward, basically no strings attached pitch. They are offering open weights, cheaper computing, and literally a seat at the international governance table, something Washington, frankly, hasn't really offered them.
And guess what? If we look at the data, this pitch is totally working in the real world. If you track DeepSeek V4 Pro on the Open Router Marketplace, you see this massive spike. DeepSeek's market share nearly doubled, jumping from 9% at the start of 2026 to 18% by June. When you offer developers powerful tools at a fraction of the cost, of course they're going to use them.
Now, if you've been following our Explainer series, you already know the economic reality behind this. We've talked about how 30 to 46% of U.S. enterprise AI workloads are already actively routing to Chinese models. Today's big geopolitical announcement is exactly what that economic shift has been fueling. The very countries and companies Washington is trying to keep away from Chinese AI are just choosing it anyway, simply because it costs less and operates without political strength.
But here is the real kicker. It's not just about the price tag anymore. It is about capability. According to Stanford University's 2026 AI Index, the performance gap between the leading US and Chinese AI models has shrunk to a mere 2.7 percentage points. 2.7. That is a razor-thin margin. That technological moat everyone used to talk about, it's effectively evaporated, and that sets the stage for an absolutely massive pricing war.
So let's move on to Section 3, the $1.25 OpenAI squeeze. Because literally while Xi Jinping was delivering his keynote in Shanghai, a total market earthquake happened on the exact same day, halfway across the world in San Francisco. Today, Google officially launched Gemini 3.5 Pro for general availability. And this is a massive release. It boasts a 2 million token context window, the largest of any frontier model in production right now. Plus, it is incredibly capable. It scored an 82.4% on the highly rigorous GPQA Diamond benchmark. That means it is going toe-to-toe with, and in some cases beating, GPT 5.5 on science reasoning. But the price? Oh, this is where it gets spicy, and it puts OpenAI in a huge squeeze. Down at the bottom, DeepSeek V4 Pro is offering frontier-level performance for literally 44 cents per million input tokens. Right above it, you've got Google's Gemini 3.5 Pro dropping in at $1.25. That makes it the cheapest Western frontier model on the market, perfectly undercutting Claude Sonnet 5 at $2 and completely halving the cost of GPT 5.5, which sits up at $2.50. OpenAI is getting totally squeezed here, from the bottom by China and from the side by Google's aggressive pricing. And we are seeing the corporate fallout of this immediately. Get this, Microsoft, OpenAI's closest partner, is reportedly considering replacing its own Copilot AI with a DeepSeek model simply to cut down on costs. Let that sink in for a second. This price war isn't some theoretical future or a think tank projection. It is a present-day reality that is forcing the biggest tech companies on the planet to rethink their architecture today.
All right, so what does this mean for you? Section 4, what to do today. The AI landscape shifted drastically in just the last 24 hours, so you need a game plan to keep up. Here are 3 actionable steps. Step 1. If your company is currently paying $2.50 or more per million AI tokens, you need to test Gemini 3.5 Pro today. It's essentially the same quality tier for half the price. Step 2. If you work in tech policy, international business, or really any regulated industry, keep an eagle eye on the World AI Cooperation Organization. If China gets even 20 developing nations to join and legitimize WAKO, it instantly becomes a real, powerful global governance body. Step 3. You just have to accept the new math.
And honestly, that new math is pretty brutal. We're looking at a tiny 2.7 percentage point performance gap, paired with a massive 5.7x price advantage for models like DeepSeek compared to GPT 5.5. That old default argument of just use American AI because it's better and safer, well, that is harder to justify to a CFO today than at any point in AI history. Hard math and tight budgets are going to drive business decisions right now, regardless of the geopolitical debates happening in the background. Which leaves us with the biggest question of all. Who will write the rules for the next decade of AI? Because this week, the AI race officially stopped being just about which company has the smartest model. It is now a full-blown race for global governance. It's about who gets to set the standards, the prices, and the access for the rest of the entire world. Make sure you hit subscribe to this explainer so we can help you understand who is winning that race before it affects your business, your tools, and your future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.